make sure, do you want my mask? Is it okay if I take my mask off?
Attorneys and witnesses may remove their masks for either their comfort or for their ability to be heard during
Thank you, Your Honor.
testimony, direct and cross.
Good morning, sir. Can you please start by telling us how you're employed?
I'm a police officer with the city of Portland.
How long have you been a police officer with the city of Portland?
That'll be almost 18 years.
And where are you currently assigned?
I'm assigned to our criminal intelligence unit.
And can you give us a general description of what your job duties are in that particular unit?
We provide investigative support on cases where there are threats of targeted acts of violence against, mass or targeted acts of violence. We also work on violent extremism cases and domestic terrorism cases.
And in that role, how long have you been doing that?
3 years.
And in the past 3 years, have you become familiar with some of the mass demonstration events in Portland?
Yes.
And as part of that, your job experience, do you sometimes do things like look at social media of people that may be involved in criminal behavior?
Yes.
And when we're talking about these events, is it fair to say that there's a wide spectrum of events that occur?
Yes.
What happens if it's a peaceful march from like for example, from a high school to downtown about the environment?
We don't give it any attention.
Okay. And what types of things might cause you to give something an attention?
Where we have believed that there's going to possibly be two different groups that have differing ideologies that in the past have clashed and committed acts of violence.
So going in, if you think that that might be something, that then you might pay it a little more attention.
Yes.
Is that something that has caused you to be familiar with some of the social media postings and things that happen and occur around that?
Yes.
And then, were you asked to assist with the investigation of August the 15th?
Yes, I was.
And in that, did you review video?
Yes, I did.
And were you able to kind of generally see people who were involved?
Yes.
And I want to take a moment and just stay again, kind of high level, but when we're talking about these events where you have two sides, is there on each side, whether and I'm going to use broad terms like the right
Okay.
or the left, and I'm talking about the ideological spectrum, is there a cohesive group on either side?
There's a cohesive group when they come together when they have a common enemy. They can, they might have differing ideologies or levels of extremism amongst themselves, but when they have a common counter, when they're counter protesting another group, they usually have some kind of cohesive. That's the reason to be cohesive.
And so when we talk about, let's talk a little bit about the left.
Okay.
We often hear the term Antifa.
Okay.
Is that a small, defined group?
That's more of a blanket term to describe a group that uses violent and nonviolent tactics to counter protest or identify individuals that they believe are fascists or neo-Nazis or white nationalists. But within that group, there's differing groups that are more radicalized.
And the people that may come out to these events, is that a wide spectrum of people?
Yes.
Can it be the people that are just out there to be looky-loos?
Yeah, I would call those more supporters, or just out there to see what the protest is about.
Okay. Now, I want to turn your attention back to August the 15th. You said you reviewed videos.
Yes.
And through the use of those videos, were you able to kind of track the progress of where this started and where it ended and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me bring up the map. When I get to the exhibit number. Okay, I've put up what's been marked as States Exhibit 23.
Okay.
Does this look familiar to you? Can you please describe it?
Yeah, this is a picture of basically the downtown core. So you have the river off to the east there, off to the right side of the screen, and then heading out of downtown to the West Hills to the left side of the screen.
Okay. And in the center, there's written Justice Center. Does that accurately reflect where the Justice Center is located with the arrow?
Yes, sir.
First, describe to us where the event began and just kind of a general sequence of events.
It began on the 3rd Avenue side of the Justice Center, so basically the Multnomah County Jail side of the Justice Center.
Okay. And from there, do you know approximately how long it was there for?
Maybe an hour, maybe hour and a half.
And then what happened? Like, why did it move from there? What? In other words, where did they go? What went on?
So and using generalized terms, the right, the flag wave event or group moved north on 3rd Avenue and then east towards 2nd Avenue. And then as they're doing that, they're being followed by the counter-protest group, the left, to generalize it. And then they kind of stopped down there at 2nd and Main for a while and yelled and screamed at each other for 10, 15 minutes maybe, tops. And then they continued northbound on 2nd in the street on the sidewalk until they got up to Taylor, and then they turned west on Taylor until they reached 4th Avenue. They turned north on 4th Avenue and stopped mid-block, kind of where that circle is, that red circle.
And the one that's on 4th Avenue?
That's correct.
Okay. And so there was, we won't go into the detail, we'll have other witnesses talk about that, but there was some activity there.
Yes.
And then did they continue on to Yamhill?
Yeah, they kind of walked north, more of a northeast. They some crossed the street there at a diagonal towards Yamhill, and then traveled back east on Yamhill, and then south on 3rd, and then again stopped mid-block. And right there is an entrance to a parking garage. That whole block is a parking garage.
Okay. Are the states going to offer States Exhibit 23 at this time?
No objection.
It's received.
And then, as I said, we'll have other witnesses kind of talk about the substance of that, but out of this, were you asked to?
Sorry to interrupt, but I think this is something we don't have thought enough yet.
Okay, so would you like to?
Yeah, I have an answer for you. I apologize.
We're going to try this for the first time. I'm going to make a very loud sound to white noise sound.
Fun.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some sort of dispute about what he wants to ask. So they're making sure that the jury can't hear what's being discussed, and also they cut off our microphones so we can't hear either.
All right.
We might go in the hallway next time.
All right. So after the events of the 15th and the 22nd, after those events, were you asked to look into the social media of Mr. Alan Swinney?
Yes, I was.
And on that social media, were you able to locate him on various social media platforms?
Yes.
What were the platforms that you located him on?
Primarily it's Twitter and a social media site called Parler.
And so the record's clear, and while the jury certainly may be familiar with some of these, please describe kind of what these platforms allow the users to do.
So Parler, well, Twitter is a social media platform that's still pretty popular. Allows you to type out different messages, post different pictures pretty quickly. It puts it in a timeline. Parler, not as popular and has kind of died down now in the last few months. I guess the best way to describe it is more like Facebook. You create a profile, you can post pictures, videos, statements, then you can make comments on other people's profiles. So I guess Facebook is the best way to describe what Parler was or is.
And were you able to locate Mr. Swinney on those social media apps?
Yes, it was.
And how did you know?
His picture was on his Parler. It was a picture of Mr. Swinney. And just the content made me believe it was his because he was posting about different events that I knew he had been at regarding the 15th and the 22nd.
Have you heard other instances where he talked about using Parler and that he posted things there and things of that nature?
Yes, he had made statements in an interview.
Okay. And were you able to look at those posts and go through them in particularized detail?
Yes, I was.
And in those particular posts, were there things like pictures and videos?
Yes, there were.
And were there times where essentially Mr. Swinney had typed out a statement and then posted it?
Yes.
And then who follows this stuff? Like, you know, who's receiving it in general terms?
It would be
Overruled.
people that you are following or that are following you. They can see what you're posting.
And I'm going to use the term probably wrong, but like on Facebook, you would friend someone.
Right.
Is it similar to that?
Very similar.
Are the profiles, some of them open to the public?
Some are. It's just like Facebook. You can control your privacy or security settings.
What about Mr. Swinney's? Was his open to the public?
I don't recall. I can't recall if it was visible or what his security settings were, but I was able to view his postings.
Okay. And then are these things? Is it one of those apps? And I think of, and again, I'm going to use Facebook as an example. Is it password protected? Is it one that you have to have like emails and things to set up and do that?
Yeah, your basic subscriber, you have to create an account. So yes,
Okay.
email, password, stuff like that.
And as you went through the post of Mr. Swinney, did that fall in line with other information you had, just knowing the way he talked, his voice, the verbiage he used, things of that nature?
Yeah, it was consistent with some of the videos that I had seen of Mr. Swinney at those events on the 15th and the 22nd.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 5. Were you able to view this particular post?
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, the state's going to offer State's Exhibit number 5 at this time.
I object.
Okay, it is received over the objection.
It's a foundational objection, just to make my record clear.
Yes, and if you want to put more on the record in the break, you can do that, but I'll allow it for now.
Can I ask a question in aid of that objection?
Yes.
Okay. Officer, were you present when whoever typed it in the computer and hit enter?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's received.
We're going to look at a series of social media postings. Did you look just at this, or did you see a wider range as well?
A wider range of Mr. Swinney's posts?
Yes.
Yeah, his account was only started, I want to say, in like June or July. So it didn't take me long to go through up until that point, which I think was September, October, to see all of his postings.
Okay. And on some of these postings, did it have pictures from the events that
Yes.
we're discussing?
Yes.
Anything or any indication or any reason to make you doubt that it was Mr. Swinney that was posted?
It was Mr. Swinney,
Yeah.
no. A lot of them were trying to, like, talking about his experiences at the event, almost like telling his story from the event.
Okay. Can I see number 6, please? Are you able to view this particular post?
Yes.
Is this one of the posts that you saw? It's dated July 22nd of 2020.
Yes.
And in looking at these particular posts, we see a few different indicators in the top. In the top left corner, what is that?
That would be a photo, like a, when you create a social media account, you can, put a picture in there, and it's a photograph of Mr. Swinney in kind of his outfit that he wears to a lot of these events, or that he wore on the 15th and the 22nd, or a similar outfit.
Okay. And then the at Al was here. What is that?
Just a username that he probably created when he set up the account.
And then does that same user then put the name Alan Swinney in there as well?
Yes.
And then it has a date. Does that indicate the date on which it was posted?
I believe so, yes. Yes.
And I'm not sure if all the jurors are able to read that. If, with the court's permission, I'll have the witness read the post.
It's fine. Go ahead and read it.
Okay. Do not violate my right to free speech. Do not violate my right to peacefully assemble. Do not violate my freedom of movement. Do not violate me. It will be hazardous to your health. You won't make me afraid to walk down the sidewalk. I fought a war for this country. I'll fight another one for it.
Go back to State's Exhibit 5 and have that same occur.
This isn't turning into a civil war. It is a civil war. When you get tired of losing, contact me. Upvote and echo this post. We need numbers. I'm currently camped out, deployed, in the National Forest outside of Portland. We move between here and Rainier National Forest outside of Seattle. When you have time, come join us. We need guys. We need vets, patriots. Come join us. Bring a tent and bedroll. Camping in the National Forest is free and it's breathtaking here. We have an old school Civil War camp set up. History is being written now. Come be a part of it. We can beat these people easily. It's time to get started. If you can't be here but would still like to help, echo and upvote. You can recruit from anywhere.
Are you familiar with the terms echo?
Echo was Parler's way of saying, like, follow me or reshare, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm not sure what upvote means, though.
Okay. And the state is going to offer State's Exhibit 6.
I assume you're going to have the same standing objection for all of the parlor posts. I'm going to receive them over your objection and let you make your record.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to still say objection.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
standing objection.
Fine.
So objection, same objection.
Okay.
Your Honor, do you mind if I grab my water?
I do not.
All right, thanks. I feel like I'm going to be doing a lot of reading.
Go to State's Exhibit 7, please. Is State's Exhibit 7 an additional post that you saw that was dated August 12th of 2020?
Yes, sir.
State's going to offer this one and request that he read it as well.
Same objection.
Received.
I am no longer a Proud Boy. I'll be back after I get Enrique voted out. The best thing the Proud Boys could do at this point is rid themselves of Enrique. At our Flag Wave Monday, about 10 of them showed up. We had more than 70 show up total though. They had 10, but we had 60 plus. Our group is much larger than theirs. They really aren't helping the cause. They're like a wrecking crew when they show up. They start talking to all the patriots and spread dissension. We've outgrown the boys. We can do this without them here. They don't just do this with our group. They do it with any patriot group that doesn't follow their orders. If you're a patriot group in the Pacific Northwest, or PNW, I assume that means Pacific Northwest, and need help, don't waste your time with them. I'm getting a network together here and we can move people around. Contact me. I say again, I am no longer a Proud Boy. I have zero confidence in the leadership, only the leadership. I have a ton of friends in the Proud Boys. They need a real leader in charge though.
Do you know when he's saying Enrique, who he's referring to?
I believe he's referring to an individual named Enrique Tario, and at the time of this posting, he was the national president of the Proud Boys, based in Florida.
And was this some of the kind of internal infight that you discussed with it?
Yes, I assume so.
And I believe the court received State's Exhibit 7. Thank you. All right, can we move on to State's Exhibit 9, please?
For the record, I object to 7.
Okay, I thought you had already. I apologize. We
Sorry.
received it regardless.
And then State's Exhibit 9, State will offer this one and request that you read it as well.
Same objection.
Received.
And this one is dated August the 16th of 2020. Can you please read this?
Haha, one of the terrorists is crying to the Portland police about getting hit by a paintball. I don't know all the details, but he said they were pushing assault charges. Here's the thing. I know the lefties in charge of Portland would love to hem me up on the assault charges, but if they think I'm going to turn myself into an angry mob, they are insane, LOL. Whoever's in charge of Portland can fuck all the way off. You're not going to tell me how I can defend myself.
And then if we can go to State's Exhibit 10. State will offer it and request to be read the same.
Objection.
Received over the objection.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hundreds of patriots will be converging on the Justice Center this Saturday, August the 22nd, D-Day. The left has always said we were lucky. The left always said we were lucky that the cops were there protecting us. You have successfully removed the cops. Now you get to deal with we the people. You let your mouth overload your ass. What on earth will we do without the cops there protecting us? You won't want to miss this Saturday. Follow and turn on notifications. It's time to take this country back.
Can we go to number 11, please? And the state will offer it and request to be read as well.
Objection.
Received over objection.
This one is dated August 22nd of 2020. Can you please read this one?
Portland, Oregon, Saturday, August 22nd, 2020, Justice Center. This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
And does it generally have a video embedded within the post?
Yes.
What's the video?
I believe it's the movie 300.
Is that
Well, it is. I mean, it says the movie 300. Sorry.
okay? And that's a movie about Spartan soldiers defending their homeland or fighting. Is that right?
That's correct.
General.
Yes.
Okay. And can we go to State's Exhibit 15? It will offer this exhibit and request that it be published to the jury as well.
Objection.
Received.
With this particular exhibit, is this one where we talk about how you can embed a video?
That's correct.
And so is there a written part to the post that is written by Mr. Swinney?
Yes.
And that is what?
Little white dude is the one I shot in the eye. This is when he got shot in the eye. He claims to be a journalist to shield terrorists so they can get closer to you. He will get hit every time he does that in front of me. He's a terrorist and he aids terrorists.
And then in that particular app, are you able to play that video as well?
Yes.
And does this particular exhibit, State's Exhibit 15, allow for that as well?
I believe I believe so.
All right, well, we're going to try that. Okay. States Exhibit 20, please. This particular post, the state would offer it and request it be read.
Objection.
Received.
Is dated, this particular post is dated September 12th, 2020. What does the caption where the user, Mr. Swinney, would write in? What does that say?
It says they thought the 22nd was rough, question mark.
And does this one also have a video embedded with it as well?
Yes.
Watch that one separately. Can we move on to State's Exhibit 21? State would offer this exhibit and request to be published to the jury.
Objection.
Received.
This particular exhibit stated State's Exhibit 21. It's dated September 20th, 2020. What does this one state?
If my life's in danger or the lives of innocent people around me, I'll pull a gun. Every time. Without question. These people who show up to violently shut down our right to peacefully assemble and support our political candidate are terrorists. Literal terrorists. They aren't Americans. They are seditionists, insurrectionists, domestic enemies of the Constitution.
Exhibit 101.
I just don't have any objection. No foundational objection.
Thank you. I'm handing you a photocopy of State's Exhibit 101.
Okay.
The State's going to offer this exhibit at this time.
No objection.
Received.
I'll just have a few brief questions about it and request that it be published to the jury as well. In the course of your investigation, were you given some writings that were done by Mr. Swinney after August the 22nd of 2020?
Yes, sir.
And is this one of those writings in particular?
Yes, sir.
And in knowing, basically, as you testified earlier about manner of writing, is the handwriting the same of other things that you had seen as well?
Yes.
This was his own handwritten writing.
Yes.
Okay. And what did it say in this particular writing?
I'm from Texas, but I went to Portland to deal with Antifa. We had a flag wave in front of Central Precinct on the sidewalk, and the same group of protesters that came out to attack the police every night for months straight showed up to attack us. We fought back though. I was marking the protesters who were attacking us with paintballs, and they are bringing charges on me for shooting my attackers with paintballs. Go figure.
And the state would offer State's Exhibit 101.
I think it's already been received.
Okay, great, thank you. probably a good point to take a break in the testimonial,
Okay.
if we may, for bathrooms and things of that nature.
All right, we'll go off the record. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we'll let you go ahead and take a quick break.
We should get audio back any second now.
And looking through some of the social media things and some of the other posts available online, were you directed or did you come into contact with it's called Bellingcat, I believe?
Yes.
And for the jury and the court's sake, what is that?
For simplicity, it's just an online investigative journalist website. Journalists post different, news articles or pieces that they're working on.
And in that website, is it just articles, or are there videos, audios, things of that nature?
Yeah, when they go along with the article, they'll post videos and pictures and stuff.
Okay. And was there an audio recording of Mr. Swinney on that particular website?
Yes, there was an article that claimed to have got access to a GoPro that belonged to Mr. Swinney.
Okay. Bring up the states
100.
100, please.
All right. Do you want me to play that?
Are the state's going to offer States Exhibit 100 and request that it be played for the jury as well?
No objection.
State 100 is received.
Are you ready, or can I ask one more question? We'll play it.
And Master Clerk, I believe I need to present again. It's just audio, so I don't think it's on there.
I have you as, you're trying it now, it's not working.
Sadly, we just have
Yeah, it's definitely out of mine.
You're going to the justice, right?
Justice. Right, where all the riots go. Yeah, right in the middle of it. Right in the middle. I mean, there's been other flagways there, right? But it hasn't been me there. And Enrique didn't know the people at the flagways. They're just their way with the flag. So it's gonna be more than a normal flagway that they do down there. But still, those other people have people coming up screwing with them and like knocking their signs down and trying to. They gotta keep their hands to themselves.
Well, if they come up and they hit your sign.
Oh yeah, that's assault. Yeah, then that's one. And like
So then, okay.
everybody needs to have their cameras rolling. If anybody gets assault, just like yell out, "Got one!" So we'll know how many we'll have a total. And then if we hear 3 or 4 people say, "Got one," just go. Right. First, we need to make sure we've got assault. I mean, if it's a crazy assault, then first, we go first. But if it's like them pushing or
Grab my flag, stuff like that.
they grab your flag or something, just come on down. Yeah, something blatant like that. Come on down the street. If they grab somebody's ad, or if you can restrain yourself, they didn't hurt you, they just assaulted you. But that's one assault we got on here. Yeah, hold your fire. Wait till you see the whites of their eyes. Like that. Let them come in, let them come in. Right. And you can do that, but hopefully we've got that on video. definitely, because then it's your word against theirs. Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's all true on that. But like if we've got it on video and stuff, we know we've got it on video and we have several of them on video, nothing's gonna happen. Because we'll just show the judge the video. Look, this assault happened, this assault happened, this assault happened. And that's why she got the gun also.
In that clip, we hear, and do you recognize that to be Mr. Swinney talking?
Yes, sir.
Heard other audio clips with him?
Yes.
Okay. Any doubt in your mind that that's him that's speaking?
No, Mr. Swinney has a very distinct voice. That makes me believe that that's him.
And then in that clip, it talks about that he hasn't been to the Justice Center before.
That's correct.
Do you have any knowledge of him coming to the Justice Center for one of these events prior to August 15th?
No, sir.
And is that something that in your job, in your task, that's something you would be aware of?
Yes. If he was to be at a protest or flag wave event, I feel like I would recognize Mr. Swinney. He stands out. He's very tall. I feel like he would stand out to me. I would be able to recognize him.
One moment, please.
This one confirm here. No further questions, Your